Okay, so here are the chords for Please Come Home for Christmas. I'm just going to walk through the whole chart, make sure you know all the chords. First one is A major 7. There's lots of ways we could do this, but what I do is take this finger, get rid of my pinky, bring it down, and then this finger's going to G sharp. That's how I do it. Some people play their A, I think, like this. Then they come down that way for the A major 7. I'm comfortable with this because that's what works for my fingers. This is really squishy here, so I have to do this because then I can get my pinky involved, which is a little bit more narrow than my other fingers. So the second chord is A major 7. Third chord is A7. Fourth chord is D. Then the next chord is D sharp diminished 7th. So what you can do to remember this chord is it looks like a D chord up a string, and then we're going to put our pinky down on the same fret that our ring finger is on, but on the high E string. Now for the D sharp diminished 7th, though, what we need to do is move this shape up to the 4th fret. So that means that our first finger's on the 4. And there's our D sharp diminished 7th. Then we have A, D. Then I like to do my rock and roll A here. So we've got A with our finger flat across the 2nd fret. Then A with a G sharp in the bass. That's what those slash chords means. That means the low note is different. And then an F sharp minor. Then a B7, which you can play this way or this way, whatever you want. Then E. Then E augmented. There's lots of ways to play E augmented. One of the ways that I've been showing people is we take our middle finger here and we put that on the 1st fret of the B string, and then we're only going to strum the top 4 strings. All right, that's one way to play it. The other is this way. I like that one. Looks kind of like a C chord, but you bring your finger up and flatten it. And then we have to have our first finger here on the 5th fret to make that E7 augmented, or that's not a 7th, so sorry, that E augmented chord. And that's the first ending for the first time through the verse. Then we go back to A major 7, A7, D sharp diminished 7th, then A, D, rock and roll A with a G sharp, F sharp. Then it's B7 to E7 in a measure. Then A, then A7, which is going to take us to our bridge, which is a D chord for 1 measure, then a D minor chord for 1 measure, then an A, then an E augmented, back to A, then an A7, then D, D minor, then B7, then E and E augmented. And this E augmented, by the way, they hit this E on the first beat of this tune, and we'll talk about the rhythm here in a second. Then they go right to the E augmented, which is that famous Beatles intro. Oh, darling. And then we go to A. So now we're getting towards the end. A major 7, A7, D diminished, or D sharp diminished 7th, then A, then C sharp 7. Then here in the next part, every chord gets 1 beat. F sharp minor, E, D sharp diminished 7th, A, F sharp minor, B7, E7. Then for the first ending here, we're going to have A for 2 beats, and then E augmented for 2 beats. Then the solo comes in. And for a lot of you and any future students, this is a great starting solo. And I'm not going to show it to you because this would be an ear training exercise. I'll show you where it's at, like as far as what part of the neck that I would play it at. It's in the BB box there. We've talked about that. Pattern 2 of our blues scales. So, well, there you go. That's where you would find those notes. It's not a hard solo, but it's a cool solo, very tasty. And it's definitely worth figuring it out yourself. Do not rely on the internet. Use your ear. Trust your ear. All right. So then we're back to, after we get through the solo, that's going to go over the first four measures of this last section of the tune that we had. So that solo goes over the A major 7, A7, D, D sharp, diminished 7th. Then when the singing comes back, we're to the A, C sharp 7. Then we've got that one chord a beat, F sharp minor, E, D, D sharp diminished 7th, A, F sharp minor, B7. Now when we get back to this B7 and this E7, this is where they're let it ring, and then the second ending goes A, D, 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 A, and then you have that cool little D, da, da, da. I'm not going to show you that either. That's good ear training. Cool. So that's the tune. It's a fun tune. That's the chords. The other thing you have to talk about with this song, which is I think is important to mention, is this song is in 12/8. And most stuff that we do is in 4/4. It's why it's called common time. It comes up all the time. We're always counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you could maybe think of this song as being in 4/4, but I don't think that's the best way to feel it. The best way to feel it is to call it 12/8. And what 12/8 means is that there are 12 beats in this measure, and the eighth note, instead of the quarter note, is getting the beat. Now, I find the best way to count this tune is to break it into two groups of 6, and that covers a measure. So what I mean is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's a much easier way to approach it, and I think it gives you the feel a little better. 12/8 is actually something we hear quite a bit. It's in a lot of blues tunes, and it's a meter that you should be familiar with. Okay, so when I'm playing this tune, I'm counting it like this, and I'm just going to play like the first. Let's do the first 8 bars so you can hear it. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. I'm sorry. Let me start that again. Because I forgot. A major 7. 1, 2, 3, bow, bow, bow. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be a measure. And then I have A7 for a whole measure by itself. Then D. Whole measure by itself. A. Then D. So those guys share a measure. Then we have this. And that's it. So those are the important parts of this tune. Hopefully I went slow enough to give you the chords. You can, of course, slow it down if you need to. The other thing, if you don't already have these shapes written out by me, let me know, and I will send you those shapes. You can probably find them online too, but I'd rather give you one of my chord diagrams. All right. That's it. Please come home for Christmas. Fun tune. Great guitar solo. Very tasty. Good ear training. And then also that beginning. See if I can hide it on the guitar. Use your ear and figure that out.